During the early 1910s, archaeologists documented the existence of pyramids in large numbers for the first time in Xi'an, China. However, what was even more intriguing was that these pyramids were very similar in structure to the already existing pyramids of Egypt, so drawing linkage between the original constructions of the pyramids of Egypt and those of China. Not just the pyramids, tools, cultural diversities, and even the Great Wall of China has been connected to the presence of early Africans in Asia. A lot of scientific research has gone to show that modern humans migrated from Africa all the way to Asia about 50 to 70,000 years ago. It was discovered that the first Asian people represented by the skulls from the upper cave of Zhoukoudian in China more closely resemble contemporary Africans than they do modern Asians. Although most of this evidence is being debated, the out of Africa theory, also known as the recent African origin of modern humans, is a more widely accepted theory in human evolution. It strongly argues that all humans originated from Africa and that subsequently migrated from the continent over time. Surely, Egypt is the home to one of the most iconic architectural sites in world history. The Great Pyramid of Giza depicts the unmatched creativity of the ancient people of Africa. However, the Giza is not the only proof of this. Further south, along the River Nile, exists hundreds of pyramid structures that belong to the Kingdom of Kush in what is now Sudan. From the long-conceived theory that Africa was where humans originated and migrated to other parts of the world, it might be true that the Chinese emperors and dynasties were the manifestation of Black African roots. In recent times, the pyramids in Xi'an have had their access restricted and are heavily guarded by the military. When asked the reason for this, the Chinese government simply stated that the technology just doesn't exist yet to evacuate the pyramids without damaging its content. However, some believe that this is a strategy by the Chinese to conceal ancient secrets hidden in the pyramids. Today there is evidence of not just one, but several pyramids in Xi'an in the Shaanxi province of northwestern China. These are the pyramids located at the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor, also known as the Terracotta Army. Something that catches attention here is that the mausoleum was constructed in the late 3rd century BCE as the final resting place for Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. This is about 5,000 years ago, around the same time the Pyramid of Giza was being constructed, indicating that Black Africans may have indeed built the pyramids of Xi'an. Archaeologists also discovered stone tools in various parts of Africa that date back to around 2.6 million years ago. As a matter of fact, the first stone tool was dug up in East Africa, Kenya. These early stone tools, attributed to the Oldowan and Acheulean industries, are considered the earliest evidence of human tool use. However, similar stone tools have been found in Asia, indicating that early humans may have migrated from Africa, carrying their tool-making techniques with them. Facts about the first dynasties, emperors, and rulerships in Asia speak volumes about the African presence in the continent. China, for example, had its first dynasty founded by King Tang and was believed to be black. The Shang dynasty is documented as the earliest rulership in China. It was credited with bringing together the elements of China's earliest days of civilization. The Shang was given the name Naki, Naki meaning black man under the Black Dynasty. The Black Chinese are also crowned as the brains behind establishing the most basic forms of graceful calligraphy that have lasted to the present day. There are still debates that exist, stating that the first Chinese emperor was a black man who had his brothers and sisters establishing government and social and cultural inventions in early China. They were credited with the creation of the Qing, also known as the Book of Change, which became the most revered system of prophecy. The book is known to have influenced the most distinguished influencers of Chinese thoughts. After becoming part of the 5 classics in the 2nd century BC, the Qing was the subject of scholarly commentary and the basis of divination practice for centuries across the Far East, and eventually took on an influential role in Western understanding of East Asian philosophical thought. The generations of Black Chinese that followed were responsible for the building of China's Earth Mound pyramids, which are often mistaken as hills due to their century-long eroded appearances. Contrary to popular belief, the pyramids in Japan are not made of stone indigenous to Japan. It is said that small black people built them during the Mu civilization. Africans were not only present in China during the construction of the Great Wall, but they also played an important role in its construction. After Qin's unification of China, the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, ordered millions of people to build the Great Wall of China, including some male citizens, peasants, slaves, and prisoners. But what many did not know was that the labor force to a great extent included black soldiers from Africa. These soldiers belonged to the fabled Forbidden Army of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Soldiers from around the temple, including a sizable number of Africans, made up the Forbidden Army. These troops were enlisted to work on the emperor's massive construction initiatives, including the Great Wall. A tomb in China's Shaanxi province contains proof of African involvement in the building of the Great Wall. Yi, a general in the Forbidden Army, rested in the tomb. Archaeologists discovered a statue of a black soldier within the tomb. Because it is one of the few known depictions of an African in ancient Chinese art, the statue is of notable significance. The Great Wall is structured with about 500 million tons of material, making it the largest man-made structure to have ever been built. Northern China is home to the more than 13,000-mile-long Great Wall of China, a historic network of walls and defenses. The Great Wall was initially envisioned by Emperor Qin Shi Huang in the 3rd century BC as a means of deterring invasions from barbarian nomads. It is now arguably the most recognizable emblem of China and its vast and vibrant history. The Great Wall's most well-known and well-preserved part was constructed from the 14th to the 17th century AD during the reign of the Ming Dynasty. Even though the Great Wall was never able to completely keep invaders out of China, it nonetheless developed into a potent representation of the resilience of Chinese civilization. There is evidence of a substantial population of blacks that lived in Asia, including the Philippines, Japan, Korea, and other Asian nations. Archaeological studies have located a black substratum in earliest Chinese history and reports of major kingdoms ruled by blacks. Several texts in classic books spoke of these diminutive blacks, describing some inhabitants with black features. This theory is backed by genetic evidence that examined the DNA of different populations. One of the key pieces of evidence comes from analyzing the genetic diversity of human population. Studies have shown that African populations have the highest genetic diversity, indicating that they have the oldest and most diverse genetic lineages. This suggests that Africa was the source of the initial humans. Additionally, genetic studies have identified specific genetic markers that are found at higher frequencies in African populations compared to other populations. These markers can be traced back to Africa and have been used to track human migrations out of Africa and into other regions, including Asia. It was a common practice among ancient Chinese women to paint their faces. Photo evidence usually shows women with dark skin carrying painted white faces. Face painting represented an embodiment of feminine beauty and purity, since while was associated with the moon, a symbol of femininity and purity in Chinese culture. A white face makeup style was popularized during the Tang Dynasty and continues to be worn throughout the Song Dynasty, even by lighter complexioned women. Chinese folklore speaks of these blacks and mentions an emperor of China named Li, consort of the Emperor Shao Wu, who was black African in a kingdom of diminutive blacks in the southwest of China. The revered Manchu dynasty exhibits a great strain of black population. Emperor Pu Yi of Manchukuo, who was clearly black, is a direct descendant of the Man China. Chinese Chronicle reports that a black empire existed in the south of China at the beginning of the country's history. More evidence reveals cultural similarities between ancient African and Asian civilizations. For example, evidence of early agriculture, such as the cultivation of crops like wheat, barley, and rice, has been found in both Africa and Asia. This suggests that agricultural practices like spread from Africa to Asia through human migration and cultural diffusion. Africa is notably the most culturally and linguistically diverse continent in the world, with most of its countries having at least 10 to 15 languages and ethnic tribes. Asia is also known to be diverse in culture, having thousands of languages, groups, and tribes. India alone has more culture and languages than the entire Europe. Other similarities that exist between these two continents are that both share a culture of ancestor worship and have respect for elders. Also, rice is central to the cuisine of both continents, unlike Europe and North America. Till today, the historical connections and interactions between Africa and Asia have played a significant role in shaping the development and growth of both continents. Africa's contributions to Asia's development can be seen in various aspects, including trade, cultural exchange, and knowledge transfer. Trade between Africa and Asia dates back centuries, with the exchange of goods such as gold, spices, textiles. The vibrant trade routes, such as the Silk Road and Indian Ocean trade routes, facilitated the movement of goods and ideas between the two continents. The trade not only enriched the economies of both regions, but also fostered cultural exchange and the spread of knowledge. Africa's rich resources and skilled artisans played a crucial role in the development of various industries in Asia. For example, the demand for African gold and ivory in Asia fueled advancements in craftsmanship, such as the intricate metalwork and carving techniques seen in Asian art and architecture. African knowledge and expertise in agriculture also contributed to advancements in Asian farming practices, leading to increased food production and population growth. Furthermore, the presence of African communities in Asia, such as the cities in India and the Afro-Asians in Southeast Asia, has had a lasting impact on the cultural fabric of these regions. These communities brought their traditions, languages, and music, enriching the diversity of African society. Africa and China have remained in contact for more than 1,000 years. Some scholars assert that the contacts began as early as the 4th century AD, but convincing evidence is sporadic or lacking. Beginning with the Tang dynasty, documented evidence of contact and trade exists, showing a relationship between China and the city-states of East Africa. This relationship has evolved over the centuries and led to a migration of Africans to China and vice versa for trade and for economic interaction. But today, evidence linking Asians to Africa ancestry has either been removed or made inaccessible to just anybody. Most history books exempt the contributions of Black Africans to the development of Asia. The impacts of Africans on Asia, especially China, have been covered up with a lot of racial bias. But inasmuch as these truths are being forcefully silenced down, footprints left behind by the ancient Black Africans will still remain for ages to come.